Yo people, LSM here. It's time to talk about the new limited character we got, SunBath Ako. Her gacha is open right now, and that's why I decided to do this video, so that you can take a look at what she can do and see if she is worth your pulls. In my opinion, she is actually one of the best limited characters we got. She have a more of a supporting role, but let's not extend, I'll talk about her now. According to the game, Aqua Summer is an attack plus character, so she is a support that will increase your damage, and she will do this by using her exclusive talent and her Climax skill. For her exclusive talent we have Swing Sweet Priestess. It have 3 effects and it's quite a long text, so I will abridge this for you. So, effect number 1. At the beginning of each round, not turn, each round, Ako will get 1 splash, and when she uses her Climax skill Form 1, for each splash she have, she will give a frail to the enemy. For each splash, the stronger the frail. Very simple. Now for effect 2 and effect 3, they have a condition to activate, and it's that your team need to have 70% or more HP. If they have the HP, they will get 2 buffs, Water Orb and Water Waltz. First, Water Orb. When a main character with Water Orb attacks, they will apply Wet on the enemy for a max of 12. Wet is used by her Climax skill Form 2 to increase the damage of the skill. Now for Water Waltz. A team that have Water Waltz get a damage increase that can go up to 25% at level 100. If you look around, you see that she basically give at least exclusive talent to everyone in the team, which is actually a very strong effect. Now for her skills. Ako have 3 skills and each one have 2 forms, so she have 6 skills in her kit. First, her 0 skill point skill, skill 1, Form 1, Area Heal, 0 skill point. We only have one other skill that's a 0 skill point heal, so we don't have much to compare, but they have almost the same base attack for heal. The difference is that Ako have increased 30% at 6%, and Miku, the other one that have a skill like this, have 20% at 50%. But Miku have a higher base value than Ako's. I don't have Miku to show you, but I think it's 55%, not sure. So, for skill 2, 3 skill point, the game says that it's front damage, but this is wrong. This skill is a front frail. As a frail, this skill is very good. At Awaken 0 is the strongest single target frail in the entire game at 31%. Other Awaken 0 frails are 28%, so Ako have 3% more. The damage doesn't matter, it's very low, but doesn't matter since frail skills you only care about the frail value. Now for her Climax skill, it's quite the long test. So the first thing here is that saying about Ako's staff mode, that she can change modes, but the skill is a 5 Climax point, Area Heal. As a heal, this skill is very weak, is a little stronger than her 0 skill point on skill 1 Form 1. Cannot spell blades just like skill 1, have the buff heal condition as well. Now effect number 2 of her skill is where things get interesting. For each splash that she consumes when using this skill, she will get a 9.48% frail, almost 10% frail on the enemy. Sadly, this number is wicked right now. The game is applying a lower value, but basically when at round 6, where normally use this type of skills, she can get almost 60% frail by herself, which is a very strong effect. And after she uses her Climax skill, she will change to mode 2, where all her skills will enter mode 2. Now let's see her skills animations. Skill 1, area heal. Skill 2, front frail. Something that I want to talk about this skill. For those that noticed, I have Muramasa no Ako, and since she used a frail skill, Muramasa was supposed to activate, but sadly for Ako, her skill 2 frail effect is after damage, which means that Muramasa doesn't work on her, because when her turn starts again, the frail is already over. This skill also have a condition that the enemy needs to have one wet effect to apply the frail, but I didn't talk about that before because it doesn't matter, because since the frail is after damage, the wet effect is before damage, so even if the enemy didn't have any wet like in the last turn, the frail still happens as supposed. So even if that condition is there, it doesn't matter much. The only way it would matter is if you start on turn 1 where everyone have below 70% HP, so that they don't get the water orb buff to apply the wet effect before they do damage. But this case is very rare, you probably never get this to activate that way. So now for her Climax skill, I have 4 stacks of splash, so they get 4 stacks of frail. Sadly the number is not right now, because it was supposed to be 38% frail, but it's only 35, which is very sad. I hope they fix her soon so that she can be better. Not better, right? She could be working as intended. Now let's talk about her skills form 2. First, skill 1, form 2. Now it's a 4 skill point area heal. It cannot spell bleed just like before, have the same buff with low HP, and this value is actually low for a 4 skill point. At level 1, normal 4 skill point heal have 130, so at max level I can have 3% more multiplier than a level 1 heal skill, which is very sad for her. So for her skill 2, form 2 is a 0 skill point front damage, and this time is right. It have the standard value for single target skills, that's 120, but have an additional effect that it gives wet to the enemy. So when Ako uses her skill, she gets 2 stacks, one for her exclusive talent and one for this skill, which helps her build 12 wets faster. Now for her Climax skill form 2, 6 Climax point, front damage. Sadly we don't have any other normal single target Climax skill to compare the damage, but I think it's very low for a 6 Climax point because of Maid Kuroko that have a multiplier very near this amount. If we look at Maid Kuroko skill, we can see that she have a 4 Climax point for 360, where Zaku is only 384. Very low difference for 2 Climax point. But Ako's Climax skill don't end only here. So for every wet enemy have max 12, the skill damage is increased by 3% in a max of 46%. The 10th skill remove a wet, and after using the Climax skill, Ako will give you 1 Climax point back. So it's a pseudo 5 Climax point. You need 6 to activate and end with 1. This skill damage can get very high. I will show you the calculation here. So if you get 46% here, we get 106. And at 12 wet stacks, Aqua Climax skill hits for 560 damage. This is very close than 8 Climax point skill that have a value of 600 damage at max level. So her Climax damage can get very high for its cost. The only problem is that she needs to build those stacks, and the earliest you can get is turn 4 if you use her form 1 in the first turn. Then at the end of turn 4 you can cast her form 2 for max damage. Another thing you to notice is that after using her Climax skill form 2, she will change back to mode 1. If you know Crossing Void, you would notice that then she will have no Climax skill left. But unlike any other character in the game, Aqua doesn't have any condition to refresh her Climax. She can use this unlimited amount of times. So every turn you can use the heal, then you change to front damage, you change to the heal, front damage, heal, front damage. She have this gimmick on her of infinite climax, which can help you when you have those challenges that says use 100 climax. You pick Aqua on a story node that doesn't have a face, like those dots here. They have unlimited amount of turns, leave one enemy alive, 2 healers, and Aqua with a very weak stats, and you can make her use her climax almost infinity times. Now let's talk about her stats. You may have noticed that unlike in previous videos, I didn't talk about her stats on the beginning, and there's a reason for that. You see, her kit is almost full of support skills, so you will think she have low H attack and high defense HP. But no, Aqua actually have one of the highest attack in the entire game. If you get here, she is not in order in the list, but she have 2060 base attack and 561 speed. If you go up here, we see that only the limited Yuki character have more base attack than her. So Aqua have everything that she needs to be a DPS, damage talent, high attack stat, but she doesn't have a good damage skills on her main kit. But that's not the biggest problem, because as we saw before, she can be a very good support for our team. And unlike other characters, she can't use her high attack talent. So let's talk about her cross skills. Or let me correct myself, cross skill in the singular. So Aqua have a cross with Tomo. It's a 5 skill point, mid damage. It doesn't have any effect, it's just a skill that does damage. It's the second skill that is a single target 5 skill point that have 5 skill point multipliers, because Maid Kuroko have 5 skill point, but it's actually a 4 skill point skill, sadly for her. So Aqua and Tomo both have very high attack, so you can expect very high numbers on damage for this skill. Let's check it out. Here we have her skill. It have 396 damage. It's almost the damage of a 4 skill point AoE. Actually, it's closest to 3 skill point AoE at 382, and the animation is quite good. Very high damage too. She was only buffed by her exclusive talent. Nobody here debuffed the enemy for more damage. For the animations of her Climax skill form 2, because her other skills don't have new animations. Before using the skill, I need to talk about something right here. So the enemy have 4 wet stacks, and something to notice when you use this skill is that Aqua doesn't give one more wet before the climax skill happens. So if you only have 11 here and use the climax skill, you will not get 12, it will be only 11, which is very sad because if it wasn't that, you could get at least one wet stack for free when using the climax skill. And those are her animations. Now to talk about Aqua Psyche. She uses the same Psyche as the summer characters. This came in last year. It was one of the first Psyches that we got. Maybe here it's a teaser of Summer Yukina. So for stats, it have HP, which is not good. Crit damage, which is very good, but the value is low. Attack stat, which is very good, but still the value is low. And final damage, which is very good, but the value is low. Because this was a weak one Psyche, they were very weak on stats, but this was the best Psyche that you could get for quite some time. She got quite lucky because it's a very good Psyche. We also are expecting here to get a new Psyche soon, maybe on the second summer event or the rerun of last year, but she'll probably get a new one. Now for her Awakens, I will spoil you, I don't think her Awakens are mandatory, you can skip her in Awakens, but let's start. For Awaken 1, the HP threshold of her exclusive talent is reduced, so instead of 70%, it's now 60 to get the buffy. For Awaken 3, her climax skill will change, so her climax skill are 5 and 6 climax points, and with Awaken 3 they cost 1 less point. In my opinion, this is actually a debuff for her. You would think if it costs less, it will get better because she could use it easier, will cost less. But there's a thing that you can do with her climax skill form 2, that is using Kyrochemi Bride equipment set, because her climax is a 6 skill point damage climax, and if we look at Bride equipment says that if a character use a climax skill equal a 6 skill point and strike the enemy, the target will get a 42% fail for 1 turn, and it's purified, so it's a removable debuff, and it happens before damage, which means that you can use Muramasa on Akko. Let's be here. You can use Muramasa on Akko to get a very crazy damage buff on her climax skill. It's actually very cool. Let me show you how this works. Here we have her. She is using Bride equipment set. I will say that mine isn't well upgraded, so she's lacking on some stats, but she has 2 frails to help her and her exclusive talent. And if you look at Muramasa, when I use the climax skill, it will shine. So it's actually buffing her climax damage even more. She's getting the frail 42% and Muramasa 22% for even more damage. We can get for some crazy values of damage for her. If we look here on the calculator, we can get her climax to hit for 808% damage. Sadly, her buff on her climax is not climax damage hit up, but for those who don't know, this is higher than 10 climax points. 10 climax points are 720. So if you use this gimmick with Akko, you can use a stronger version of every 10 climax point skill for only 6 climax point, which you can use it as a meme, but as I said, you can the earliest you can use is at the end of round 4, so maybe only 1 time per battle. You don't have enough time to use a second time. Resuming here Awakens, we have now Awaken 5, and this is a buff for her damage buff talent, which can get up to 30% instead of 25. So it's the same value as Tatsuya, which is kinda crazy. It's the highest value of buff we can get in the entire game for exclusive talents. I'd say if she gets a battery somehow, she will break the game. She will be very strong. And that was Akko's kit. For skills she is support, she have a damage cross, and her exclusive talent is one of the strongest in the entire game. Probably the best support talent in the game that you can find. It's very hard to match how strong her exclusive talent is. So, before ending the video, I need to say that sadly she is not farmable. She doesn't have any fragments on history. So if you get here, she doesn't have a stage. Lucia have, but Akko doesn't. Sadly. Maybe on future chapters, but who knows when they will launch more. She doesn't have frags on Guild Shop either. They have quite a limited amount of characters here, but Akko is not here. So if you are raising her talents, you need to use universal frags or get duplicates of her in the gacha. Now, for my opinion about her and why do I think that she is one of the best characters we got in the game. So, if we look at the meta right now, we can see that what's important now is only one character doing all the damage. Like, let's pick my team here. We have Alice doing all the damage with spamming her Climax skill. Meanwhile, we have a battery with Kamineko, and Misaki that is a battery and also give the damage buff. So the team to work only needs the Climax spam and 2 batteries to work, where the batteries it's best that they have both skills to buff the main even more. So if Akko had a battery on her kit, we could take Mikasa out to give her Alice support and give Kamineko Hossein or maybe Hinata or Akko support, so that they can buff Alice damage even more, because since Akko's exclusive talent doesn't need to attack, unlike Misaki, with Alice support skill they can reach a max of 111% damage by themselves, which is kinda crazy, because then we also have Kamineko support that will give even more damage buff for Alice, and then the numbers can go quite high. So there's someone here that did use Akko. Let's see, where is he? Yeah, this one. So didn't ever use Kamineko. This scores all by Alice Climax. I think it was 6 Alice Climax, which shows how crazy she can be. If she had a battery, this person could get maybe 1.6 score, because the damage increase is very high. Maybe I think that 30% at only 2% on my score. When I upgraded Alice score by 2%, every Alice Climax did 40k more damage. So assuming my score, if I had 28% more damage, that is 40 times 14. Yeah, so let's do the math here. That will be 40 times 14 for each Alice Climax. She will get half a million more damage for each Climax, which is crazy if you think about it. Half a million only because you changed the character. So that's why I think that if you can, you should pick Akko right now. She have much potential, and even if you already have those things built, she can be used on Psyche teams because they need 3 teams. So you can give Akko 1, She also would be very great on Morpheus Helm when this come back, because we got some single target skills, single target stages, where you need 3 single target things, and Ako is very good at single target. She can spam her 5 skill point cross skill, and as we saw before, her Climax at 6 skill point can get some very high damage values because of Muramasa and Kuryokihime Bride exclusive set. So that's it. This was Ako. In my opinion, she is worth your pulls. You don't need to pull her ass for now, because she actually is only a support, so she doesn't need her stats. So go for pity 34, pick her. She's a great character, and I don't think you'll regret having her. If you don't have enough for now, save for her run, because she'll probably come back with her Elementium, and if there's a battery on her Elementium, you be already prepared to build her exclusive talent to high levels and get a new record on your score. Thank you for watching, people. Bye. Say something, Ako, please.
今日は何をしますか？
Exatamente, o que a gente deve jogar hoje. Vocês não estão entendendo isso, mas eu tô falando do mesmo jeito.